Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles, welcoming you to another installment of Lyles Figure Files. We're in the second week of January. That means I'm long overdue with sharing my top 10 list of all these figure lines that I collect, what I want to see for 2022. I mean, there's a brand new year. That means there's a whole bunch of figures we've got on the horizon. Hopefully, so by this time next year, I can look back at all the cool stuff we got. So I decided to start off with Jazwares All Elite Wrestling, their unmatched, unrivaled line, because there's so many good things coming. There's so many new wrestlers on the horizon. We know who are coming. They've added a lot of wrestlers to AEW, so there's a lot of exciting new characters. Some we've already seen from Mattel's WWE line, but it'll be fun to have them actually in the Jazwares line where we can pit them up against guys like Sammy Guevara and throw them in with all that super great articulation, great accessories. Check it out here. Great line. They forced Mattel to step their game up with articulation. They made the Ultimate Edition figures have butterfly shoulders, kind of in response to what Jazwares is doing with their AEW figures, which is great news for us, of course, because that means we get better figures all around. So this is a quick recap because I know there's lots of figures, lots of characters you guys are probably expecting to see on this list that you may not know already announced and slated. I started doing mine and was like, wait, they're in such and such lineup. So let me scratch this and swing it up around. All right, so here's what we've got coming up so far. An unmatched or unrivaled Series 9. Got Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, and Cage. So that's 3/5 of Team Taz at one point in time because everything's changed now with them. We've also got Eddie Kingston coming, Christian Cage, and Thunder Rosa. So that's a really strong lineup. All new characters, no variants of the Bucks, no new addition of Cody, and no new airbrush tights of Kenny Omega, which is a really encouraging sign. And that shows that the Jazwares is comfortable moving forward, doing new figures, and we're not going to see the same guys over and over again. Now, Unmatched Wave 4 is a little bit more of a throwback kind of wave. We've got Cody, MJF, Hangman, Adam Page. So we've got a lot of familiar faces that we've already seen several times in the line. But there are two exciting newcomers in that one. First up is Jade Cargill, the new TBS champion. And I am hoping that figure comes with the title. Maybe a little bit too early, but that tournament stretch forever. So maybe Jazwares actually has a design of the title in the works already. And finally, CM Punk. This is going to be our first Punk, I assume one of 10 we'll see throughout the course of this year. Hopefully one of those is the Sting homage with the face paint, the old school Scorpion, and the red tights or red boots that he wore when he teamed up with Darby Allin and the Icon Sting against MJF and FTR. So I'm going to break down some of my variant wish list items first, just because we've already seen these figures or some have been announced. First up, FTR and their Midnight Express tribute gear, hopefully with cloth robes and the black with the rainbow stripes on the back. I always love when the Midnights rock that outfit anyway, so to see FTR actually do it was really exciting. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, hopefully this year. Next up, Thunder Rosa, when she was rocking the X23 gear. That was cool. I mean, I'm always going to geek out when wrestlers dress up as comic book characters, and I thought her outfit looked really good. Hopefully it's one of those deals where it's not too close and Hasbro, Marvel doesn't try to go, nah, you can't make this because it's too close to the outfit. Because I really liked it and thought it was a cool take on her normal gear. And along that same vein, my next choice, Jade Cargill rocking the Storm cosplay tribute. She really blew up on Instagram when she showed off this Storm, like dead on classic giant size X-Men outfit. So good. Like she pulled off the cosplay so fantastic. It was like, wow, who is this? And she rocked it again for that TBS title match, and it was like, yes, this changes it up just enough that hopefully we can get this to a figure. I know sometimes when we're seeing these outfits, it's like, oh, I want that one as a figure. That was my immediate thought when she came out with that. So I would love to see that in figure form because I think they could really pull it off and look cool. All right, so now I'm going to move on to my honorable mentions. There's so many decisions on this one, where to go, what not to go. So I'm just going to break down those really fast. I decided to put Butcher and the Blade in the honorable mention category. They've been here forever, but they've also had injuries and kind of have not been there as consistently as some of these other players that I did want to include on the list. So I put them in the honorable mention category. Also, Preston Vance, Alan Angels, lower tier members of the Dark Order. Definitely want to see them, but they're not as high a priority as some other characters for me. And I'm not quite sure how they would put this out, but this was something that always frustrated me with Mattel and Jax. This is probably more of an edict from the WWE, where it took so long to get the commentators. Hopefully, we can get an updated version of JR, our very first Tony Schiavone figure, which would, it's an old school NWA, WCW head. Getting a Tony Schiavone figure that's not a custom would really be something cool and amazing. And since he doesn't look that different, maybe we could fledge him in with our WWE legends from the NWA, WCW era. And also Excalibur. I'm wondering if maybe they could pull off a 3-pack and just put up some folding chairs and a table and just have them sit there and maybe use the cardboard backdrop as the set that they use, while they're just sitting on stage. I would love that because they're such a integral part of the AEW presentation. And we had that set. We could also do something with Ricky Starks, Jericho, Excalibur, Taz, etc. for Rampage. So those are my honorable mentions. Now it's on to my top 10 AEW figures I want to see in 2022. First up at number 10 is Rebel and Jamie Hayter. Now they've been doing 2-packs typically with characters and figures we've already seen. Hopefully they will expand to new characters, because I'm not so sure if people would be like, oh man, I got to get a Rebel figure. But Rebel is so integral. I mean, she's so key to Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, that you got to have her. I mean, even preferably with an alternate swappable hand that has the pointing finger so she can do that as well. And Jamie Hayter is like the heavy of that trio. And maybe you can get her with a fur coat and just rocking the crazy hair and the big leg braces. I love to see Jamie Hayter because I think she's been a real impressive part of that women's roster for AEW and kind of underrated because she's teaming up with Britt Baker. But I love to see those two as a tag team. Get them both so the good doctor isn't hanging by herself much longer. For number 9 and number 8, I'm just going to tell you both of them. There are 2 more members of the Dark Order, Colt Cabana, Alex Reynolds. I felt bad for Alex because he missed out on that Unmatched Series 3, which was all Dark Order, and he just kind of missed a cut because they have so many members of the team. But he and John Silver are a tag team primarily, and I'd love to see them reunited in figure form. They'd be a great addition to my March Bashness tournament for this year. That's crazy that we're already going on to that, just a few more months away. Jazwares has provided me with a lot of new tag teams, so I've got a lot of different additions that will be joining the fray. So stay tuned for that coming really soon. And Colt Cabana, speaking of tag teams that could be inserted into March Bashness, we'll just forget all the backstage and behind the scenes drama with their friendship, but we could put him and CM Punk back together. Second City Saints action. So love to see him. Hopefully we get both a regular default version of Colt Cabana and a Dark Order theme variant chase. They're doing all kinds of options with that. So he would be a really good character to do that for with their chase and variant options. For number 7, I'm going with Private Party here. They have been very underutilized ever since Matt Hardy went heel and they went heel. They just kind of been jobbers to every other good quality team and just squealing and not really doing much of anything. But when they came on the scene and beat the Young Bucks, they had this young upstart deal going. They were the flashy team and seemed like they were really going to do something with them. It was a little bit surprising that they decided to go with SCU and then Omega and Page as the tag champs, because I felt like Private Party had a window where they really could have taken off and been bigger stars and really been taken seriously by the AEW crowd. Now they're just kind of lost in the shuffle. But I think they would make really good figures, especially if they went with their face attire, where they were wearing the really flashy outfits. Mark Quinn had the outfit with the tails coming back. So they look cool, and I think they make really good figures. They just have to be even smaller than this Sammy Guevara figure. And he's a little bit more muscular than he probably should be. But Private Party definitely needs to be a little bit scrawnier. Maybe they fudge that with their outfits to hide their size, but I really want to see them in the sun. Next up, we're going to continue this tag team theme at number 6, Dante Martin and Lio Rush. Lio Rush was a star in NXT in the Cruiserweight division. I'm so glad he's over in AEW and just showing off all what he can do. And somehow Dante Martin is able to pull off these ridiculous high-flying moves that somehow look different. I mean, I remember very vividly watching Too Cold Scorpio and feeling like I'd never seen anybody doing this. I mean, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, Bobby Eaton were basically the high flyers before him. Flying Bryan did a little bit of stuff, and Owen Hart was kind of cutting edge, but Too Cold Scorpio was a whole different level. And I feel like that when I'm watching Dante Martin. So I'd love to see him get a figure, and may as well pair him up with his normal regular tag team partner in Lio Rush in his Power Rangers outfit. And I'm going to go with number 5, Andrade El Idolo. He's a guy who did have a Mattel Elite figure, but it was really hard to track down for so long. And I'm just like, whatever, I'll just wait till Jazwares gets around to it. I'd love for them to include his Black Mask style mask, maybe a removable suit to complete the entire outfit. But he's somebody that we need because he's been pretty pivotal in terms of feuds and matches. You can have him go against Pac, Cody, so you can set up your flaming table. Don't try it at home. Make sure you're doing it outside. But he'd be a really good option. And he's somebody I can fudge over and move into my NXT collection if need be. So definitely want to get him soon, hopefully in the next few lineups, because he's really kind of important. They've been pushing him hard, and he's a really good wrestler. I think he's still underrated even to the AEW crowd. Next up is Ethan Page. He has been involved in a lot of high-profile feuds, teaming with Scorpio Sky against Sting and Darby Allin. One of the men of the year. I love to see Dan Lambert end up in this wave somehow or in just this lineup at some point in 2022, because he is my favorite guy to cut promos right now. He's just great with his Jim Cornette impersonation. Really fun. But Ethan Page is somebody who actually hasn't had a figure in a 6-inch format, so it'd be great to see him team up with Scorpio Sky. They can fight the existing Sting, Darby Allin figures we've got, and just cause chaos with the rest of the inner circle and all that good stuff. So definitely want to get him. On that same front, somebody who's been a real thorn in the side of the inner circle, Shawn Spears, the chairman. Gotta get him. He's the last member of the Pinnacle that we don't have in figure form yet. So we've got MJF, we've got FTR, we've got Wardlow now. We got to get the last wrestling member. I, of course, want to get an older Tully Blanchard, but I guess that's not as high a priority. But I'd love to get him so we can have a War Games style match with the inner circle, the Pinnacle, maybe a Stadium Stampede thing. But right now, the inner circle has the odds, and that's not good. We need all the bad guys to fight him. So definitely get the chairman in there. He's been in AEW basically since day one, and he's really needed just because of his importance with the Pinnacle. Number two is Taz. And I know I've been holding off on some of these managers, but Taz is really the main guy who's talking for all of Team Taz's promos. He's the one going off the most and getting upset when people decide not to team up with Team Taz and sign up with them. Put him in the baseball cap, the leather jacket, get him the sunglasses, maybe an alternate head sculpt without it. And if we're talking more of those legend figures that Jazwares mentioned was a possibility, we've already seen that with the Chris Jericho based on his attire when he was in Mexico. Maybe this is a way to get ECW era Taz, maybe with the long-haired the Tasmanian Devil look or the Human Suplex Machine. I think they can get away with just doing black and orange tights and calling it a night, because I need a old school ECW Taz in either version to throw around and suplex my WWE guys. So definitely want to get him. And if not the Legends version, I absolutely want manager, commentator Taz. Which brings us to number one. And this is not just because this guy is super popular right now. It's because he has really been right there with the rest of his teammates, sitting, snacking on his bag of chips. You know him. It is time. My number one choice for wish list items for 2022 from Jazwares, Ascendant Hook. Got to get him wrestling gear, but maybe we can also put a removable top that, he can sit on his way to the ringside while he's sitting watching everybody else at Team Taz do their damage. And then the most important part with this figure, got to have the crazy wild hair. Maybe you get 2 head sculpts with the hair going different directions. But we got to send in Hook. He's got to be our number 1 choice for AEW figures from Jazwares 2022. So that's my list. You note, I didn't include Malachi Black. I didn't include Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, or Bryan Danielson, because we know they're coming and there's 0 chance that we won't see them in 2022. I know they're going to do a really good job on those guys, but as far as Undisputed Era is concerned, Mattel did really good work on those head sculpts. And as we've seen with FTR, Jazwares didn't always knock out that likeness as strongly as Mattel does. So I still have my Undisputed Era from NXT that I can throw these guys around for a little bit longer, so they're not as high a priority. Maybe Bryan Danielson would be a little bit higher because he's changed his hairstyle up a bit, changed his look. It would be really great to have an alternate head sculpt for the inevitable, unrivaled, unmatched Bryan Danielson, and I am really trying so hard not to say Daniel Bryan because of all those years of conditioning from the WWE. But for Bryan Danielson, we can get the ponytailed hair sculpt and then the wild, because this come undone, just hanging loose style. Pin him up in a 2-pack against Hangman Page for the title. That would be great. Lots of cool options. Lots of fun new original characters we're getting from Jazwares and so many more members of the AEW roster that we can still get in 2022. So those are my picks. Let me know who you want to see from Jazwares with AEW coming down the pike in 2022. Let me know what you think about my rankings. So that's it for now. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. I will be back real soon because I got to break down WWE Elites / Legends / Flashback / Ultimate Editions, Marvel Legends, Star Wars Black Series, and, of course, G.I. Joe Classified Series. So that's it for me for now. Thank you so much for watching. This episode of Lyle's Figure Files has been filed.